all of his paddock family this weekend on a racetrack he's very familiar with. Raced plenty of MotoGP races here. 2 MotoGP race credit to his credit. Oh, and there's Cameron Peterson trying to make the most on acceleration from that Dunlop tire.
Well, Mathew snuck up underneath him. He saw that lap ago there. We saw him try the same exact move. This time Mathew made it work. +0 on his pit board. He's going to be like, wow, I didn't get away. Yesterday at this time, Petrucci had already run a 2:08.6, and Scholtz is big and
nice
going
big
up
lunge
underneath him there in turn 11. 2:08.6 yesterday on Petrucci's second or third lap. So when you look at this 2:09.2 that Mathew Scholtz just did, he is trying to up the pace.
Great lunge by Mathew Scholtz to move Petrucci out of the way, but then again, here comes Ducati horsepower. Is Scholtz gonna send it into turn number 11? He does, he gets position, and he's able to get the bike turned, but can he get a drive? So, once again, Mathew Scholtz takes over the lead. Petrucci looking for a tighter line. Jason, in talking with Scholtz this morning, I asked him about line choice.
Be a little bit more aggressive in the beginning on the tire, and there's 2/3 of the race.
Oh, sorry, Hannah. Sorry, Hannah. What a lunge by Scholtz to take over the lead, heading on to turn number 11.
Oh, between these two guys here, and those 2 attack bikes are going to be up there with the leaders.
Scholtz had him look over his shoulder, and you just get the feeling that they are just destroying these rear Dunlop tires. They're working them really hard. Another pass for the lead, and Scholtz gets right back at it, but Petrucci's got the line.
You can see what Scholtz wants out of that motorcycle is to be able to get it spun up. Here's a look at the pass, Jason.
Yeah, it's a great pass. He gets to drive out of the carousel, and he's able to get that number 11 Westby bike stepped up underneath the inside of Petrucci down into that chicane. When you get down here to turn 5, Danilo's going to move over to the left. As you can see, Mathew's going to have a stab.
Here comes Mathew Scholtz down into turn number 5, and he parks him. So Scholtz, just like you said, Jay, that was a block pass. He had about half a wheel or maybe less in front of Petrucci. Great job by Scholtz.
They come out into the last corner. Petrucci's going to take a stab at him
so
going into the last turn.
They're side by side. Scholtz not giving it up. What has Petrucci got? Did he blow the drive? Here comes Scholtz, elbows in, trying to get as arrow as possible. Is it going to be Mathew Scholtz with his 5th MotoAmerica win? They come across the stripe, and it is Mathew Scholtz to the line in a photo finish. 15 thousandths of a second, and 3rd place. As we come to the line, it's going to be teammates Hector Barbera and PJ Jacobsen.
And we're waiting to see. Jake Gagne does come home in 5th place. Wow, we had a battle for 1st and 2nd. We had a tremendous battle between teammates in 3rd and 4th. But for this guy here, man, it's got to feel so good to finally win that race.
Take another look at the finish.
Man, Petrucci tried to run it up there underneath him. I was surprised by that. I thought Danilo probably knew he could draft past that Yamaha up the straightaway, and he got so close to doing it, but good, solid, hard, clean racing as these guys came to the line, and you can see Petrucci pulls out of the draft, but Mathew had just enough to win for that Westby team.
And there's a look at the photo finish, and it's that front line, that leading edge of that white line that determines it. And Hannah mentioned that each team puts their transponder in different positions, so that was the confirmation, as that photo finish is what determines the race.
He's able to roll through the corners, is Mathew, but up this back straight, I don't think he's going to be close enough, is he, Greg, for the corkscrew? It looks like he's going to try anyways, doesn't it?
It does. There goes Scholtz. Boy, he left it late to the last moment, but he's able to get it done. Jay, and I think you're right. I think looking at the fuel load going down also, I just think Scholtz had to take a few laps and figure out, how can I get this thing to go around the racetrack as fast as possible with what I have underneath me?
Reacts. You see the pass on the left there, live action on the right, and the bike just looks more settled. And I know he's going a little bit slower than he had earlier.
Yeah. He's got his hand up there. And so, you know, Scholtz is in an interesting position because Scholtz can't get too close to Cam Peterson. In case something goes wrong, you definitely don't want to get him. But there's a good move by Scholtz. He's going to sweep around the outside. Is he going to get that position? Cameron Peterson knows he's got something going on the edge of the top and wants to choose a different line into turn number 1. It's just not paying. There goes Scholtz up the inside. So now Scholtz is able to make that move. Just superior roll speed, Scholtz, and that's a section where he didn't have to, really clamp down on that brake lever with that injured wrist of his. And for Scholtz on this final lap, so the white flag is out in this 5-lap restart. A good run. but it's about how much force can he put into his wrist. If he really has to brake hard, he's going to ease by. He does it under braking. And Mathew Scholtz, he gets it down there, but hey, there was no way for nowhere for Cam Peterson to go. But we know Peterson's been fast down the hill and no room.
Yeah, Mathew did a nice job there of controlling his exit, have much grip out of the 66 Tyler's bike, and now he's behind his teammate. He wants to get through him, and Mathew Scholtz all the while probably feels like he has the pace to go with Petrucci and Cam Peterson. He's going to have a look here up the inside. He does. Whoa. As PJ Jacobsen opens up his line a little bit, Mathew Scholtz stuffs his way through.
That's a great lunge by Scholtz to just leave the throttle open for that moment extra.
You can see PJ Jacobsen right now looking at his teammate, opens up that line. Mathew Scholtz makes a direct shot right to the apex. That's off camber, Greg, so that is a big move. Expect the same move coming up here. He's already seen where Hector Barbera is riding, so he's going to try to tee him up in the exact same spot, Greg. And Hector Barbera gets out a little bit wide. Looked like Hector may have lost the front there, just a little bit tipping in, and that just opened the door for Matt, so he didn't have to pull out that same pass after all.
Kind of looked very similar, but the plan was already in place by Mathew Scholtz, so that is for 4th spot. And Yamaha would like nothing more than if Scholtz could get around Petrucci.
Let's see what happened to Barbera. He actually lost the rear a little bit on the way in. So it's either going to be coming out of here. Mathew's been pretty sideways a little bit there. I don't know. Let's see, Greg, if he can make that same pass.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh, the big lunge. And Petrucci, he had to lift for just a moment. So, Jason, just like you're talking about, just from Petrucci's body language, it looked like it was a surprise.
But you see how much tighter it was? He paid off there for Mathew. He gets the bike up underneath him, and you're going to probably see that same thing. He's able to just squeak that pass through. And now we'll see, if you look in the bottom right of your screen there, Mathew's already starting to gap Petrucci ever so slightly, but Petrucci will watch what's going on.
Your championship points leader, the #1 in his original grid spot, as is the #9, second in points. Revs are up. Here we go. Medallia Superbike race #2, scheduled for 15 laps. Now 14 laps. And there goes Petrucci up the inside. And Danilo Petrucci will take over the lead, but Cameron Peterson looked like he was going to have none of it. Has already wrapped up a national championship here in MotoAmerica. So riding that bike, Ashton Yates having a good go at it, but there's Mathew Scholtz. He'll go up the inside, take position.
Well, he just ran the fastest lap of the race, Greg. 31.7 from Mathew Scholtz. He's some 10.5 seconds behind our race leader.
It's up to Gagne to win this championship on his own as Gagne looks over his shoulder. Don't see that very often from the 2010.
Oh, Mathew just had a little bit of a moment there as you saw his foot slip off the peg. The pass that he'll make, hopefully, Greg, I know Mathew, it'll be a clean one. There'll be no risk involved.
Now here's Mathew Scholtz hounding 45 Cam Peterson. So it's fresh and lean progressive Yamaha R1 versus Westby Racing Yamaha R1, as Peterson had a look over his shoulder, and of course he is, because he's going to hear something. Here goes Scholtz, the South African, with a new contract. 30 years old, and Peterson gets right back around him. Danilo Petrucci out front is managing the lead. He's keeping it right around 10 seconds as the 45 has another look over his left shoulder. Wow. So Scholtz will go by his right shoulder.
Yeah,
you can hear the crowd whistling, Jay, like they're so excited to see this passing. The Ducati spinning onto the front straightaway we go. Danilo Petrucci, who stands up and takes a win. Well, Medallia Superbike race #2. And here comes Mathew Scholtz, working that throttle as much as he can. He'll get second place, 6.6 behind.